Welcome into the Oklahoman's video studio. Dave Morris here to talk about the weekend review, filling in for Philip O'Connor, who is trotting the globe right now, and good for him for the next 2 weeks. We'll do what we can to cover the headlines that were and will be in upcoming editions of the Oklahoman and previous editions of the Oklahoman this week, and helping us guide those headlines and conversations, Meg Wingerter, Alan Herzberger, and Don McCoy from right out here in the newsroom of the Oklahoman. Guys, ladies, welcome in. Good to see everybody. Front page news today right here. And a big story, the shared byline, Nolan Clay here, Chris Castile, and Meg contributing on this. The grand jury health agency hid millions in slush fund. How is this possible?
Well, they had taken in more money than they needed to actually perform some of these functions over a period of many years. And they put that excess money in the federal fund that is basically their account for federal money, which a lot of federal money is restricted. So you would look at that and say, okay, this is money that clearly needs to stay where it is to be used for these programs. So then the legislature looked at it as something that they couldn't sweep. So basically it was just a way they could keep that money either for a rainy day or to spend more on health programs than they would have normally been able to. This is a story that you have been following, and you had an extensive article a few weeks ago in the Sunday Oklahoman, really breaking down the timeline of this. Were you surprised when yesterday the report came out of the grand jury's findings? I was incredibly surprised, particularly that it came out that there was not an actual financial crisis, because we were hearing from everyone, from the former CFO and other heads at the health department, that they were in this jam, that they weren't going to be able to make payroll without a cash infusion. And it turned out what happened was it went back to that slush fund and the money that looked like it was restricted federal money but actually wasn't. Because if that money had actually been restricted, they really would have been in that jam of, we can't legally take this money and use it for things like payroll. But because it wasn't federal money, they could have used it, but no one understood that at that time. It took the auditors going in over a period of months looking at it and figuring out, what money is this? It's a 45-minute press conference. You can watch that if you want on demand at NewsOK.com. State Auditor, she mentioned Gary Jones, and State Attorney General Mike Hunter. They're delivering a 32-page report as the grand jurors concluded that the health department was never actually in a financial crisis, and as a result, I believe, if I remember this correctly, there's no criminal charges pending? There are no, certainly no state charges. Okay. I suppose it isn't quite clear where the federal investigation stands, if they're still looking into that. I would not consider federal charges to be particularly likely. It's more likely that they're going to, say, penalize the state by withholding some funds if they determine that that is what they want to do. But yeah, basically the Attorney General and the State Auditor said this was terribly mismanaged, but none of it falls under, none of it is technically illegal. There's nothing we can charge anyone with because no one actually stole any money. They just grossly mismanaged it. To the tune of $30 million. Don, we worked together for over 2 decades. Can you remember a story similar to this? I mean, it just kind of blows me away. It's really surprising. It's just stunning. And you feel for these people who lost their jobs. 198 of them. Yeah, and you wonder what happens to those people. Is there any chance they get their jobs back, or how do they move forward from this? You're hearing any feedback to that subject? I have not heard any answers on that. The health department seems to still be working out exactly how many people it needs in what positions to be able to provide core services. It's possible some of them could end up being able to apply for more or less their own jobs, but that's not guaranteed. That is amazing. One last question for you, Meg, and this is kind of a broad question, but to this point, what should people know about this and what happens next? Well, the report laid out several recommendations, including that the health department give back the $30 million cash infusion that they got late last year, since that money hasn't been spent and apparently isn't going to be needed. I imagine that probably when the next time the legislature's in session, they'll want to take up some of these other suggestions in making changes to the statutes regarding mismanagement and such. But for now, I think we just have to wait and see how they take these recommendations and move forward.
Interesting stuff. As I mentioned, you can watch that press conference from yesterday online at NewsOK.com, which takes us to our next subject. You may notice that NewsOK.com received a facelift this day, and our VP of Community Engagement over here, Mr. Alan Herzberger, can weigh in on what we're looking at right there.
Well, you're looking at the new look homepage of NewsOK.com, and Dave, I really consider this evolution of NewsOK. It's really tied into premium experiences, premium content for our users. You mentioned Meg's story a couple weeks ago about the health department and the deep dive that she did. It was one of our really most successful stories we put as a premium story on NewsOK. Encouraged users to subscribe to see it, encouraged users to purchase just that one single article, and it was one of the most successful we've had all year. We've really started doing that last January, and so this is an evolution to that. NewsOK Pro, or NewsOK.com is the redesign. NewsOK still exists, it's still a free website, but we have introduced premium experiences for users. We call that NewsOK Pro. Allows users to customize one of 15 topics. When they customize, they can choose what they want to see on that topic, health being one of the examples, the energy industry and our business content, Oklahoma City and all the deep dive coverage that Steve Lackmeyer, Bill Crum, and that team does. They can customize all the topics from not only from the Oklahoman, they can customize them from the Associated Press, a bunch of subtopics that the Associated Press covers on all of these categories. They can find Twitter users to pull into their page.
I was about to say, there's some social media aspects to this as well, right?
Absolutely. So it's really what the user can choose on these deep dive topics, what they want to see, and they can throttle it up or throttle it down. They can choose their politics page and see the different sources that they want to see from RSS feeds and from Twitter and the Oklahoman's course deep dive topics. So along all these categories, including the sports categories, the main ones we have, we really encourage our users to log in, create an account, start playing around with the customization. It's something that they can do for a while for free. But this customization, which I've written about, I've written some headlines. I don't do that often, but a couple blog posts explaining what NewsOK is, explaining what Pro is, and I've written that pretty soon all this is going to go behind a true store wall. But if you sign up now, you'll get the first 2 months free, play around with it for as much as you can, customize all 15 topics, and see where that takes you.
I actually misspoke your title a second ago. You're the Vice President of Audience Development, not
Yes,
Audience
I'm looking for new
Engagement.
titles all the time. So.
All right, very good. What's some of your favorite features of the new NewsOK?
Well, there's really 4 reasons someone's going to subscribe, and that's what we've looked at from the very beginning as we were building this. One of them is they get more content. So there's so much more. And I was actually talking to one of our developers yesterday, and he said, he really likes to read about a certain topic, and he said, there's so much here. There's so much more that I've never seen before, and we need to make sure people know that. So that's me telling you, there's so much more than you've ever seen before. There's also the customization aspect, which I've described. People can choose what they want and get exactly what they want. The third is the premium content. There is going to be content, things like the deep dives that Meg does, a lot of the stuff that's done on Don's desk. A lot of that stuff, especially the weekend deep dives we do, those are going to continue to be premium for subscribers. And that's going to be on NewsOK and the Oklahoman's products. And then the fourth reason is an ad-free environment. So we are offering an ad-free experience on our section fronts and articles. We've gotten a lot of good feedback on that. Right now, if you are a full Oklahoman subscriber, you can see the ad-free experience on NewsOK. And when we introduce the store, one of our tiers is going to include that. So that's all coming in the next few weeks. My favorite, personally, the content. I think the #1 reason people are going to be subscribing to this, and the #1 reason we've seen transition over the last year, is the premium content. It triggers subscriptions when we have the kinds of stories that I'm describing. Things that, the kinds of stories that Meg did, the stories we've done, and the sweet spot is when our reporters take a deep dive on a subject that's been in the news for the last couple of weeks, and really do a full explanatory piece analysis on that sort of topic. Drive subscriptions, and we're going to see more of that, especially as we do more of that and we put more of that behind the NewsOK Pro meter. So that's my favorite, but everyone has their own opinion of which of those reasons are going to drive the most subscriptions. But I'll just say one more thing about it. That's that we've often had premium experiences on the Oklahoman. We have the Oklahoman app. We have the print and replica for the digital users that like the replica experience. We have Oklahoman.com. Those are still going to continue. What we've introduced is a different type of premium experience that really targets the NewsOK heavy user and gives them an experience that's far different than the newspaper and far different than Oklahoman.com, the Oklahoman app, and the print replica.
New experience for mobile as well?
Absolutely. It's a fully responsive site. We built it to be responsive on both mobile and desktop. It's one of the things we needed to do. We needed to do a lot of things on NewsOK. We needed to really upgrade the design. You remember we've worked together for 2 decades as well. And we joke we used to redesign once a year whether we needed to or not. We haven't done it in a long time.
Right.
And we don't just do it for a facelift. We did it for a strategic reason to give experiences to people. But we needed to redesign. We needed to rebuild the architecture, make it faster, leaner, meaner, make it responsive. But the core reason we did it is for these premium experiences for our core NewsOK users, to give them a reason and enhanced experiences to support the local journalism that we do.
I mean, it's great journalism as well. You can go to NewsOK.com, dive into everything Alan is talking about. For breaking news, it's right up top in those red banners up top. What's going on right now is shootings in Houston, and also our colleague Steve Blackmeyer, as he always does on Friday mornings, chatting about all things business. And in front of Don Mecoy on the desk is an extensive list of some of these topics that your desk has covered, many of them, perhaps all of them, by Steve Blackmeyer this week.
Yes, I think Steve has done 9 stories this week about...
He's just showing off.
Yeah, he is just showing off. He does that a lot. But there's so much stuff popping up downtown, and this is kind of the way things have been going downtown. You know, we have quiet periods, and then it gets noisy.
Front page of the business section today, a new business, and we're trying to decipher what that logo on the building might be. It's kind of fun to guess, because we don't really know who it is yet.
We don't. Steve revealed back in March he got a hold of some drawings of this new 7-story building that's going to go on Automobile Alley.
Pages all over it in the studio back there.
Yeah, and you can see that sort of crooked arrow on the side there, and the architect suggested yesterday when this design was approved by a city panel that logo has something to do with the company that's coming. We also learned that it's some kind of international company that is planning to move its North American headquarters into that building. The reason they built there is because there's basically an empty parking garage, which used to be, many years ago, the Opubco parking garage. Now it's a YMCA parking garage.
It's got a big 5 on the side of it, right?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes. So that's going to be really interesting, and we don't know who it is, but it looks like it's going to be hundreds of jobs. Steve has, the one thing he has learned is that it appears not to be an energy-related business, so it's something new. But we will soon find out.
Well, speaking of energy business, the Sandridge building was also a topic of conversation.
Yeah, Steve had a story about Sandridge. They built this Parkside building back when Tom Ward was still the CEO before he got forced out. And this was going to be an amenities building for Sandridge employees. Well, Sandridge has shrunk considerably since then. They've never occupied this building. It's a lovely building, right?
Yeah, it looks great from the outside.
Next to the old Kerr Park. And they sold it for about $10 million. And so someone will be moving in there before too long, someone local. So that's big news. And I mean, and a variety of other stories Steve did. We learned about a new beer hall operated by the same people that do the Patriarch in Edmond. It's going to go up alongside Scissortail Park. We saw 4 proposals for affordable housing to be built and retail to be built surrounding the parking garage. It's going to go in by the convention center. What else did we have?
The Mercedes dealership?
Yeah, the Mercedes dealership up at 13th and Broadway has moved, and that property is getting ready to be redeveloped. So we'll be seeing changes there, and then we'll see something come in. Looks like that, is that your aerial that you shot?
Yeah, we went up there earlier this week to shoot some things. And he has an upcoming story about another property over off of 8th and Hudson, maybe?
Yes. Yeah, the old Swanson's Tire property, which there's a lot of stuff over there, a Mexican restaurant, several other things, and an ice cream shop is getting ready to move in there. It sounds really interesting. He writes about some kind of avocado lime ice cream that you can try over there.
Avocado is one of those mystery, actually I think it's a fruit. maybe, that you might not think it works in things, and it does.
I love avocado.
Yeah, I do as well,
Yeah.
but
Will they have vanilla
Probably, yeah.
with M&Ms? That'll be good.
They're much like NewsOK. They try to reach people at every level.
Perfect.
Yeah. But then he did a story about a new front door to the Bricktown Canal. There's never really been a sign telling
Right.
people from out of town, here's how you get to the Bricktown Canal. And that busy Mickey Mantle Avenue right there between the ballpark and kind of the front door to the canal is going to have a new signage. And they're also looking at narrowing Mickey Mantle there to make it more pedestrian friendly, slow the traffic down. That was another thing he wrote about. He wrote about an old motel over on Classen that
Right.
has been bought and is going to be redeveloped, and they're going to kind of keep this sort of kitschy motor court look, and that's going to be a place that, they're looking at like maybe $100 a night room rates for people who want to go to the to the west area, the Film Row area, and as that area kind of gets more and more active, they're looking to build there. It's just a really busy time in downtown. There's stuff popping up all over the place.
he does a nice job of staying on top of it. And of course, you can follow that online at newsok.com. Perhaps you could customize your business experience there to pull in Steve's tweets, among other coverage. And of course, you can look for these stories online right now at NewsOK.com and upcoming editions of the Oklahoman, and of course online. But I'll get you guys out of here on 2 questions. Royal wedding Saturday morning. Will you watch?
No.
No.
Is it happening?
Yeah. Okay. You?
Too early for me.
Too early. Yes, like 5:30 Oklahoma time for.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And last of all, you mentioned how NewsOK can be customizable and you can make it how you want it, and people will see what they want to see then on their website. One of the rages this week on the internet is, are you hearing Yanni or Laurel?
Laurel. Laurel. Laurel.
Don, what are you hearing?
It's Laurel. Yes.
Alan?
This time, Laurel.
Meg?
Laurel.
I'm hearing Yanni.
Really?
Laurel.
I am clearly hearing Laurel there. It's amazing and kind of cool that people hear different things on this thing.
Laurel.
All right. As Bill would say, that's the sort of coverage you can expect to find every day, and certainly on the weekends in the Oklahoman and online at newsok.com. Guys, thanks so much. Great job this week, and have a great weekend, everyone.
You too.